We are gathered to dedicate a monument to two of the most impactful men in the history of the United States, neither of whom could have accomplished what they did for this country alone. Each had like-minded supporters, and in the end, they each had each other to help them achieve their goals. This monument depicts a significant meeting between Frederick Douglass and President Lincoln in Washington, D.C. on August 19, 1864. These men did not always agree on the progress of slavery and emancipation, but by the end of this meeting, Douglass believed that President Lincoln had finally come to understand the ultimate mission of the Union Army. He understood that it must be about the millions of enslaved Americans. For this country to continue and prosper, it needed to remain united. That's what Lincoln believed. But Douglass said, yeah, you need to keep it you need to keep it united, but you also need to rid it of the abomination of slavery. We know that this country would have been totally different had it not been for the work of Frederick Douglass and the person that went on to become his friend, Abraham Lincoln. America needed both men, and they needed each other. The work we do every day at City Hall also relies on collaboration. While it may not always be as lofty as the work that these two men undertook, we are no less in need of people willing to come together to work for a better tomorrow. With City Council and my administration, we work to eradicate poverty, keep citizens safe, ensure affordable housing, inspire youth, create jobs, and much more. And we need one another, and we need our sometimes differing viewpoints in order to offer hope and opportunity where every resident can thrive. I want to thank Governor Kathy Hochul for the state's unwavering support of the work we are doing to transform Rochester from a city dedicated to industry alone to one that is dedicated to its people, to one that is dedicated to equality in our built spaces and the celebration of the Genesee River that will serve residents and visitors now into the future. Thank you to Erica Mock and the Fredrick Douglass Family Initiatives for continuing the abolitionist and anti-racism work needed to end racial inequality and the exploitation of men, women, and children. The Cornhill Neighbors Association and Jeff Holdsworth continue to be invaluable partners in the city's growth. They worked hard to ensure that our oldest neighborhoods remains relevant in a place where every resident is welcome, whether as a visitor to the Cornhill Arts Festival or as a neighbor. And lastly, I want to thank the artist and Rochester resident, Olivia Kim, and Commissioner Perrin, along with his team at the city, Kamal Cruz and Frank Bond, and the partners at Bergman, Jensen, BRV Engineering, and Lou Engineers for taking big ideas and making them a reality. The monument we will all marvel at and celebrate today has been over a year in the making, with Olivia and the city working together to create something that will inspire this city for generations. It took each of these groups of individuals to pull together with a single purpose, and this is when I'm proudest of the city. When we leave behind our individual needs and use our skills to complement each other, it is a shining example of my belief that it's not me, it's we. When we work together like Douglass and Lincoln and the legions that worked with them, we can achieve astonishing and world-changing results. Who knows what inspiration today, tomorrow, or 50 years from now will be taken from this monument that may change the city for the better. The dedication of this monument to Douglass and Lincoln in this spot brings back to this neighborhood that was the original home of his abolitionist newspaper, the North Star. Having Lincoln join him is a testament to how Douglass, armed with intelligence, heart, and purpose, moved the president of this country to see a new future. Both men came from humble beginnings, and both men rose above them. Both men believed in the greatness of this country and that we needed to meet its potential. Both men ended their lives with respect for each other and called each other friend. A man born into slavery and a man born free, knowing each other as equals, and that is future manifested. I see the former mayor here, Lovely Warren. I want to recognize her as well. Let's give her a round of applause. Also, former Commissioner Norm Jones. As I always tell people, each administration's built upon successive administrations, and Rock the Riverway initiative started under the Warren administration, and we have continued that. And that is about collaboration, partnership, and continuity. You have to continue good work, and I think that that's a representative of that. So thank you, Commissioner Jones and Mayor Warren, for being here. Now I would like to have Council Member LaShay Harris, who represents the South Quadrant, where we are standing right now, to come and give us some brief remarks. Councilmember Harris.
Thank you, Mayor. Evans, I just want to make a couple of brief remarks. Just to remind us, we are on the heels of the 4th of July, and this monument highlights that moment, two moments in history, a snapshot of when Fredrick Douglass and President Lincoln meet in an encounter that would change the trajectory of America. And today we unveiled what the artist Olivia Kim has captured of that moment. Today we face many challenges in our city, as many of us have differences, ideological differences, on how to solve those challenges. I would encourage us to look to this monument in this moment to highlight how two men from differences set aside those differences to overcome the challenges of slavery. We too must do the same to overcome the challenges of our city. But together, we are the salt of the earth and the light of the world, just as this piece is named, the salt of the earth and the light of the world. Thank you to the mayor and the administration, artist Olivia Kim, Rock the River Way, our former mayor and her team, lovely Warren, Erica Mott, the president of Cornhill Neighborhood Association, and of course the New York State Canals Corp. Thank you. Thank you for putting this together, and I appreciate it. And of course, Cornhill and our neighbors will enjoy this, and the city of Rochester will enjoy this for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Harris. This mighty monument sits on the banks of our most iconic natural wonder, the Genesee River. The connection of the Erie Canal and the Genesee has meant prosperity for this city and the country for over 200 years. Our partnership with the New York State Canal Corporation on this project, and recently the opening of the city's downtown harbor right down by the Genesee River Trail, a few hundred feet, is critical to keeping this vibrant river relevant and protected for generations to come. And I'm so happy to have Brian Stratton here from the New York State Canals. Brian, I had my canal t-shirt on yesterday, 2 days ago on the 4th of July. And we want to have, I should have worn it today because it's so doggone hot. So I want to have Director Stratton come and bring us some words. And he's a former mayor. You know, once a mayor, always a mayor. Mayor Warren will tell you that. Once you're a mayor, you're always a mayor. And mayor of Schenectady, right. He was the mayor of Schenectady, and now he's running the Canal Corp, which sounds like a great fun job.
It's a larger territory.
Larger territory. He, you know, we're salt of the earth. That's biblical. Enlarging territory is also biblical for all my preacher friends here. And now we'll have Mr. Stratton. Mr. Stratton.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you very much. Mayor Evans, thank you very much. Mayor Warren, it's wonderful to see you. It was just about 3 years you and I were here for another event, and it was last year I was here. Another project dedicating this beautiful North Star Plaza. On behalf of all of us at the New York State Canal Corporation and the New York Power Authority, we are pleased to be here. Mayor Evans, thank you so much. Mayor Warren, thank you for making this happen. This is a tremendous day, and we are here to honor one of Rochester's most distinguished citizens, and two of America's most important figures, President Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. We are gathered here at the North Star Commons along the Genesee River, which is actually today's Erie Canal, to see them standing side by side, face to face, eye to eye. But as history tells us, that was not always the case. They did not always stand side by side, nor did they see eye to eye. Initially, Douglass had doubts about Lincoln's commitment to end slavery. And as David Blight explains in his fabulous biography, Fredrick Douglass, Prophet of Freedom, theirs was a complicated relationship, at least to begin with. And it's that eventual, but they came together to form a partnership, and that eventual partnership is what we honor here today. The fact that they could unite in a common cause and help move America forward. It was here in Rochester, along the Erie Canal, where Frederick Douglass came to live in 1847 and began the North Star newspaper at 25 Buffalo Street. Is that part of your district, Councilwoman? That's a wonderful district. And to paraphrase what Blight said about the city at that time, Rochester was a thriving city of then 50,000 along the Erie Canal, and a significant haven for freedom seekers making their way along the Underground Railroad all the way to Canada. And by that time, the Erie Canal had become so much more than just a economic driver. It was a conveyor of new ideas and social movement. It was the internet of its time. In earlier times, Frederick Douglass, as Blight knows, and his fellow abolitionist speakers, traveled along the state in wagons, carriages, commercial stagecoaches, and on the Erie Canal. And from those trips through here, Frederick Douglass found Rochester to be a hospitable place. And later, in 1861, 15,000 people turned out as Lincoln's inaugural train made its way through. And we don't know for sure, but we can't imagine that he was not among those there to greet that train. So what a marvelous statue this is, and what a marvelous tribute this is to two great Americans. I am proud to be a part of the heritage of the canal. Lincoln traveled along the canal. Frederick Douglass traveled along the canal, and now we have them today here at the North Star Commons. So my congratulations to all of you for making it happen. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And Erica Mock in the Frederick Douglass Family Initiative reminds us that Douglass's work is not done, and that his family and the organization under Erica's leadership continues to fight injustice. So I want to invite Erica Mock to come up and make a few remarks. Erica?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mayor Evans, distinguished guests, the Cornhill Association, and Kamal Cruz and Olivia Kim for making this happen. I was fortunate to be involved early on in the process, and you know, when Olivia's name got thrown into it, it was the obvious, right? We all know her work, but more importantly, she goes deep, and I take that train with her, so I'm excited to be here today. Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you to shed a light on the remarkable relationship between two iconic figures in American history, Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln. This monument highlights the meeting between the two in August of 1864. But these two individuals, though vastly different in their backgrounds, shared a bond that transcended their circumstances and played a pivotal role in shaping the course of our nation. Frederick Douglass, born into slavery, emerged as a powerful abolitionist, an advocate for civil rights, and a beacon of hope for the oppressed. His eloquent speeches and writings exposed the brutal realities of slavery and stirred the conscience of the American people. Douglass, with his unyielding determination, fought tirelessly for equality and justice and the full emancipation of Black people. Abraham Lincoln, on the other hand, rose to become the 16th President of the United States during one of the most tumultuous periods in our nation's history. Lincoln's leadership was marked by his unwavering commitment to preserve the Union, and abolition of the institution of slavery was demanding an equal charge. This unwavering pressure of abolition, led by Douglass and his fellow freedom fighters, would implore Lincoln to set forth the Emancipation Proclamation. It was in the midst of this turbulent era that Douglass and Lincoln crossed paths. At first, their relationship, as mentioned before, was characterized by skepticism and caution. Douglass doubted Lincoln's commitment to the cause of emancipation, while Lincoln, burdened by the complexities of politics, treaded cautiously to maintain support for his policies. In April of 1876, Douglass gives a speech at the unveiling of the Emancipation Monument where he speaks truth to power. Douglass says, Lincoln was ready to execute all the supposed guarantees of the United States Constitution in favor of the slave system anywhere inside the enslaved states. He was willing to pursue, recapture, and send back fugitive slaves to his master, and to suppress enslaved uprising for liberty, though his guilty master were already at arms against our government. He urged in a letter, later on published in the National Republican just days after that ceremony, admirable as is the monument in Lincoln Park, it does not seem to tell me the truth, the whole truth, and perhaps no one monument could be made to tell the truth of any subject, which it might be designed to illustrate. The mere act of breaking the Negro's chains was an act of Abraham Lincoln and beautifully expressed in this previous monument. But the act by which the Negro was made a citizen of the United States and invested with the elective franchise was predominantly the act of President, U.S. Grant, and this now nowhere seen in the Lincoln Monument. The Negro here, though rising, is still seen on his knees and nude. What I want to see before I die, Frederick says, is a monument representing the Negro, not the couchant on his knees like a four-footed animal, but erect on his feet like a man. There is room in Lincoln Park for another monument, and I throw out the suggestion to end that it may be taken up and acted upon. Well, today, Frederick Douglass, you are not an amiable slave. Today, Frederick Douglass, you are not couched on your knees like a four-footed animal. Today, Frederick Douglass, you stand erect on your feet like a man. Today, Frederick Douglass, we stand on your shoulders. Today, Frederick Douglass, we stand by side with you as you are standing equal to this great liberator, fellow statesman, and national hero, Abraham Lincoln. Today and all the days to follow, let us use this monument as a beacon of hope and a moral compass. Use this as a reminder that we are all the salt of the earth and the light that is needed to continue the fight of equality for all of those who are still illegally enslaved. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. And thank you for all the work that the Fredrick Douglass Family Initiatives continues to do for our community and places around the world. And lastly, Jeff Holdsworth, president of the Cornhill Neighborhood Association, will share the significance of this monument with this neighborhood. So Jeff, if you can come forward.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. As the mayor said, it's quite warm up here, so we'll keep this short. Thank you for all the words that were said about Lincoln and Douglass. I certainly can't outdo those. Just a simple thank you I wanted to make here is both the current administration and the former Commissioner Jones and the former administration. Thank you for your support of the Riverwalk. This has made a huge difference here in the community, and we appreciate it. Also, I want to say thank you to Lou Jones, one of our neighbors and board members here in Cornhill. It was at a public engagement meeting about the riverfront several years before it started to be worked on that Lou, and the historian that he is, was thinking about what might be the public art that could be here, and thought it'd be really neat to see Douglass and Lincoln here because it really spoke to the neighborhood. The Cornhill neighbors are super excited about supporting and advocating for a diverse, engaged community here in the city, and with support from our elected officials, the Canal Corp, current and former administrations, we really appreciate the partnership that we have to bring it to life here. So, Lou, thank you for your humble comments at a public meeting several years ago. Thank you, Commissioner Jones, former Mayor Lovely Warren for supporting that and bringing it to life here today. So thank you so much. And I couldn't go without saying thank you to a bunch of neighbors that over 10 years ago did a charrette here, which really started the vision and started to plant the seed for what this river wall could look like. So Bonnie Mayer, Nick Tamburini, and other neighbors that are here, thank you so much for your advocacy and support for the neighborhood over the years. As many know, this is the oldest residential neighborhood in the city, and we're super excited. I'm going to do my commercial plug. We're going to invite the entire Western New York community to come down and visit our neighborhood this weekend, so please come out, enjoy the Riverwalk, enjoy this immense artwork piece done by Olivia, and then have a great time, because this is a great place to live, and we like calling it home. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. And I'm going to have Olivia come up. It was Olivia. Is she back there? Is Olivia hiding? I don't see Olivia. But the monument cast in bronze is entitled Salt of the Earth, Light of the World. The artist gave it this title in reference to Matthew 5:13 through 16, salt of the earth, meaning both men being self-made and light of the world, drawing a correlation with Douglass and the abolitionist newspaper, the North Star. So, you are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, giving light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others let your light shine before others so they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. So we're going to give these two great men the light they deserve.
1, 2, 3.